Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to take a look at the Stamina Warden PvE build for Dragonbone's DLC. I do have a written guide on my website, link in the description below. Now how are Stamina Wardens? They're still kinda a little bit the underdog. They perform about the same as let's say a Stem DK, Stem Sork or Stemplar. But you kinda want to run the bear, which is not optimal in all situations. That's why you might probably not see a lot of them, but they also can pull very good numbers. At the moment there's a few people posting very nice combat metrics parsers from Stamina Wardens in trials. So if you want to check out that stuff, Discord link in the description, make sure to join. There's a lot of hero crafting going on in general. If you want to increase your DPS or just want to know a few things, you can always ask the people there. So as you can see, we have pretty basic stats. We are running the Warrior Mundus Stone. This is the best for trials. You want more weapon damage. Buff food wise, we are running the max health, max stem one. Potions, the weapon power pots. I always run those. They are the easiest to get in the guild store. If you don't know how to craft them, the ingredients are on my website. In terms of race, I do recommend being a red guard because of the adrenaline rush. It gives you the best sustain, and the 10% extra stamina helps also a lot boosting your damage. Then on top of that, we also have a little bit recovery, but it's not that relevant for this build because we get our sustain through heavy attacks and through other skills, synergies and stuff like that. An orc will also work good with this setup. Imperials as well, Kashites also. So there's like basically all stamina races work very good with it. Then, in terms of gear, please make sure to not forget to subscribe. More videos in the future. Like I said, there is a lot of very good combinations that are available for stamina setups in general. I always do recommend when you're the only stamina setup in your group, then go with two fanged. But for example, if you already have, let's say 3 or 4 other stamina DDs in your group, then what you can do is, for example, run War Machine and Night Mother's Gaze. Now only one person in your group needs to run Night Mother's Gaze, but if somebody else already has this, you might want to run Hunting's Rage instead. That's what you need to coordinate with your group. I do have an article about stamina optimization on my website. I will you actually should find the link in the build, in the written guide of the build, if you haven't read it already. So War Machine, this one is a really good set for Wardens due to like the bear attack only costs 75 ultimate points. So every time we use the bear ulti, War Machine procs and it amps up the damage really good for yourself and 2 other group members. So while the set, when you compare it to, for example, Hunting's Rage, might be about the same damage, you still boost 2 other group members. So you will, in the end, the group damage will be way higher. Just keep that in mind. That's what a lot of people seem to forget. Night Mother's Gaze. This is a nice set. We only front bar this. The thing, when you deal critical damage, you reduce the enemy's physical resistance by 2580. This holds for 6 seconds. So when we are, most of the time we are on our front bar doing abilities and stuff like that. On the back bar, we are not longer than 5 seconds on the back bar. So the moment we go back to the front bar, Night Mothers will proc again. It is very easy. If you have a solid rotation, you will keep this up like 98% or up to 100 basically. Because it has such a long duration, 6 seconds, let's say, it's more than enough to keep it up all the time. Then the last set is Velidref. Now this basically is one of the strongest monster sets. There's a few others that are also very viable, like Stormfist or Mephala for example. When you deal damage, you have a 20% chance to spawn 3 disease spores in front of you after 1 second that deal 14k damage. It just deals a ton of damage. You just have to make sure that it's actually able to hit the target that you want to hit. That's the thing. At the moment I'm running 5 medium, 1 heavy. Now if possible you could actually do a Nightmother's Gaze chest, heavy chest, and then run everything else medium. You can also run 7 medium if you want for a little bit better sustain, or 5-1-1 if you want more health. Then War Machine jewelry with weapon damage. On the weapons you can run 2 daggers or you can run a dagger and axe, but because I'm a red guard I usually like to run 2 daggers, otherwise my crit is a little bit too low. So 58.6 with 2 daggers is nice in my opinion. Then we have a Nirnhound on the main hand with poison damage and the infused weapon damage enchant. Backbar, Maelstrom Bow, Nirnhound or Precise with poisoned. Now the poisons deal about 2k damage in a fight, so they're very good. But they're a little bit expensive. If you can't craft them, then just run for example a disease enchant on the backbar. But yeah, you kinda need a Maelstrom Bow if you want to pull good deeps. AoE and single target, so I really recommend doing Maelstrom. The Maelstrom bows have actually a quite decent drop rate compared to other things, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get it once you actually get through it. All divines here with stem enchants, very important to boost our warrior Mundus Stone as much as possible. Okay, like I said, this is one possible gear setup. On my website you can find a lot of other good stamina sets. Then in terms of champion points, 56, 22, 61, 61 and 40. Now on this setup we actually have quite a lot of direct damage, so Mastered Arms is actually very helpful. Piercing, depending on whether your group has like Alcast, Infused Crusher or Torux Crusher and all that stuff that debuffs the enemy. You might need less or more piercing. That's what you need to decide with your group. If you're unsure what other people run, I usually just put 30 points into piercing and then I'm good to go. 40, 40, 75, 49 and 36. Now keep in mind you can change this around as you want. This is just a setup that I usually run with. 49, 49, 48, 13 and 81. I also do have an article in the trials section on my website about red champion points optimization in trials, because each trial has different type of attacks and you want to optimize your damage mitigation. So you take less damage and you will die less. I really recommend reading that article. If you're interested in trials, of course. Now about... First, just quickly go through the passives. All of those are very important. Now here, increases your damage done by 2% for each animal companion ability slotted. So we have the Guardian, we have the Netch and the Sub-Assault. So that's why I have those 3 on the front bar. Another thing, now Flourish is with this build not that optimal, but what recently also happened a little bit, more and more people run full light attack builds. Because synergies work so much better. Some players use Imperials, and then they use the dubious Cameron Throne. So you get more recovery, and then this passive is actually really great. Boosts your sustain a lot. But then again, I will get to that in a second. You don't really need it for this build. You also get a little bit more ulti-gen. And here, Nature's Gift. Now this is also why the sustain on a Warden is very good. Because of this, we run this ability on the back bar. Every time we do a light or a heavy attack, we restore health to you or a nearby ally. And then this here procs. When healing an ally with a green balance ability, gain 250 or 250 magicka or 250 stamina. Restore your lowest resource pool. Now a lot of people think the lowest resource pool here is magicka. This is not true. It can be either one of those two. Because if I have 80% stamina but 100% magicka, it will restore stamina. It's percentage based. So whatever percentage based resource you have lower, it will restore. If you only have 10% magicka and 20% stamina, it will restore magicka. That's how this works. At least I do think so from the testing. It's just like this helps a lot with sustain. Obviously this doesn't work on a target dummy because you're alone there, so this only works in a raid. So the sustain on a target dummy for this setup will be worse, but it's a raid build anyway, so nobody gives a flying F about dummies anyway. Other than that, there is nothing really that interesting for Wardens, but especially this one can be very good with amping up damage. If you want, you could slot even more. If you're like, you could remove Deadly Cloak if you want to slot other pets just to get 2% more damage, but I do think this is important. If you don't have this, people usually die. Dual wield, all of them. Bow passives, all. Medium armor, all. Now heavy, you need Juggernaut to get 2% more health if you run a health piece. Fighter's Guild, Undaunted, very important to get more max resources. Racial passives and medicinal use. This is very important for the potions, to keep them up 100%. We have the weapon damage and crit buff. Abilities. Rending Slashes, very nice damage over time effect. Deadly Cloak. Now this here is very important. It's a strong ability. Not really in terms of damage, it pulls decent damage, but the damage mitigation it offers is insane. 25% AoE damage reduction is just so strong, so make sure to have this on the bar. I sometimes run without it, but you get really squishy and you might die faster. Shrouded Daggers. Now you might ask why I'm not running the bird. So the thing is, the bird is only pure single target. Shrouded Dagger is a little bit AoE damage also. Now this costs 1.8k stamina and this 2.2. It's a little bit cheaper. So in the end, if you want pure single target, you could run the Cutting Dive. Okay? But it's not a huge difference in the end. So either on this or this. It's up to you. Both work. Subterranean Assault. Very strong ability. Like actually somebody on Discord linked the parse. And this is 7k DPS. He had a little bit different build. I think he used this as a, not as a spammable, but he didn't use like Shrouded Daggers or Cutting Dive. We just try to keep Sub Assault up as much as possible. So you can pull really good deeps with this, but for most players that play Wardens or that new to Wardens, it's kinda tricky to keep it up. Because they seem to forget to reactivate it. So you kinda need a rotation. I do have a rotation on my website in the rotation section. Bull Netch. This helps a lot with sustain as well, so you need to make sure to keep this up. I recommend animation weapon swap cancelling this. It has a very long animation, you can see. But when you weapon swap cancel this, it's no problem at all. Then on the ultimate in general, now here we run the bear. If you can, always run the bear, it deals more damage than for example Bolt or Dawnbreaker. If you can't run the bear, then always Bolt, the Ballista, is your second choice. Endless Hail, like always, your strongest AoE and single target damage over time effect, as long as you have the Maelstrom Bow. Does so much damage. Rearming Trap needs to be up all the time because of Minor Force, so it boosts your critical damage. Poison Injection, really strong single target ability. Cult Drops. Quite expensive, but it also deals a lot of damage. And then, like I said before, Green Lotus. Now about this Green Lotus thing. What I usually do is, when you are fighting and I have more than enough stamina, I'm not activating this. So I only really keep this up when I'm in need for stamina, or I see, okay, I might get into a little bit trouble in like 20 to 30 seconds because my stamina drops low. Then I activate this, then Nature's Gift passive will start to proc and giving me actually quite a lot of resources back. That's more or less it about the setup. Like I said, if you're interested in some very in-depth Stem Warden Fury crafting, join my Discord. There is a few people that like to play Stem Wardens. and they have very nice parses there. I think I haven't forgotten anything. That's more or less it. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.